Hey guys, over the last few months, a lot has changed in the budget IEM market. I've started off reviewing stuff like the Moondrop Quarks, and we talked about the Chus when those came out, the 7 Hertz Zeros, and recently Wan'er SG has come out from TANGZU. And I just wanted to kind of talk about how everything has changed. It's pretty amazing how it's changed in the last few months, and just the quality that I perceive, the differences between those models. So first thing, for those that are shopping in the budget segment, I'll just say that the TANGZUs are an amazing IEM. You get a lot of value out of it. I'm able to use the tips that come with them, so that's not anything you need to worry about. Anybody that's been watching these videos for a while knows I usually say I'm using third-party tips just because the quality is so much better, and I have trouble kind of getting a seal with the ones that come with it. I do not have that problem with the TANGZUs, and I'm really pretty impressed by them. I don't see any reason why you'd need to replace the tips. They are driven really easily off of an Apple dongle. They sound clear and big and awesome with them. There's no need to invest in anything beyond what your cell phone will give in terms of power. And the sound quality is amazing on them. So just to go back to when this really started to explode is when Moondrop came out with the Chus. The Chus out of the box, to me, I didn't really like them because the spring tips that came with them made them sound very shrill and shrieky. There was a harshness in the upper mid-range, and I just didn't really like how they sounded. Now, if you took some spin fits and put them on it like you do, like I like the CP100s, I believe they're called, CP100 Plus. Anyway, if you get some third-party tips for it, then they sound pretty good. It mellows out some of that higher mid-range, and it brings in a little bit of that bass that you're kind of missing with the tips that come in the box. So all in all, that was a good set. It's all built in. The cable is built into it. It was still an all-in-one unit, and it wasn't super high quality. Lots of people talked about issues with one of their left or right ears going out. And that really held the mantle until the 7 Hertz Zero came out. A lot of people have watched my review on the Zero. It's a very good IEM. Came out recently. The Critical is actually the one that tuned it, easily driven off of just about anything. It doesn't have great construction. It's kind of got this plasticky metal thing going for it. It looks a little bit cheesy. When you put it in your ear, it's like kind of like at an angle. It kind of makes it hard to stay in there. So it's not perfect in that way. But it did satisfy my need for something basic. I found that detail wise and soundstage wise, it really blew me away compared to, even very high end sets. Just the way that it was tuned, you get a lot of detail out of different music tracks, and it can be used well for gaming too, which is great. The downside that I didn't really talk about much at the time because of all the upside to it was that you kind of knew you were signing up for an IEM that was not going to be the warmest, most pleasurable listen. So when you're listening to it, you are getting detail, you're getting instrument separation, you're getting soundstage out of a $20 IEM, which is awesome. But what you're not getting is a sense of warmth, of depth note and fullness, of a sense of breathing room between the different instruments, and just a general warmth and airiness, which usually costs a lot more money to get to me. So I was very impressed with it at the time, but guess my point is that the new TANGZU that came out does have a lot of those features. Now, I say it is not a perfect IEM. It does not have huge soundstage. It does not have a great sense of, separation between the different instruments. But what it does give you for $20 is a very satisfying, deep, powerful bass, along with a very clear and I feel like accurate representation of most of the instruments that you hear there. Where if you even compare it to much more expensive IEMs, maybe $50, $100, even up to $200, Stuff like the OH10, which I listen to back to back with it. And the OH10 captures your attention more. It's got more of a sense of urgency and immediacy. The music sounds more punchy and full and clear, and just kind of grabs your attention a little bit more. But I'd say, I mean, probably performance-wise, you're probably getting 85% of what you're getting out of like a $200 IEM like the OH10, just with the new TANGZU. So when people are talking about, hey, I've been out of the game for a few years, and I like the T2 and I want to spend some money, I'm recommending that people just try this, because I mean, quality wise, I don't have my T3 pluses in my ARI anymore, but if I did, I'm pretty sure that I'd probably prefer this over something like that. The 7Hz Zero, as I said, this is just kind of a better listen. You get way more sense of depth, note weight. It's it's clear, but it's a very warm presentation at the same time. So it's very good to listen to in a way that usually you don't get until you spend a lot more money. I'd say probably if you're going to use it just exclusively for gaming or detail or soundstage, then you may still prefer the Zero. But when I listened to them back to back, it was so much more enjoyable to listen to that than the 7Hz. It's got almost a metallic kind of tinny thing that, at the time I'd said that, it's a good trade-off. That's what you get when you buy. You lose a little bit of the warmth, but you get all these other things. But I'm starting to feel like with some of these other budget sets, you can do even better than that. Now, that being said, I've also done a lot of listening back-to-back tests with the Kiwi Ears Cadenza as well, which is a $35 set. That's something that a lot of people have been interested in. It's a really good-looking IEM. There's a few different options for colors. I got the red one, which I think is really cool. It's almost got like a little lava rock kind of feel to it, almost like it's peeking through at that. So the build quality is slightly better than what you get with the TANGZU, but it is so what you don't get with it, you don't get as much bass impact, and you don't get, so like if you're just like into rock, or like say you're just starting out into audiophile stuff and you want bass impact and you want to be able to hear the instruments very clearly and have a nice warm, clear, but crisp presentation of it, I think that the TANGZU is an excellent option. But if you've got a little bit more refined, I don't say more refined taste, it just depends on what mood I'm in. But if I feel like listening to something with a little bit more nuance, I find that I really enjoy the Cadenza a little bit better, because it doesn't give you quite as much bass impact. So at a glance, it takes a moment to kind of settle into it. But what I find when I listen to it, it gives much more sense of space and separation between the different instruments than the TANGZU does. What it lacks in bass impact, it gives you in a sense of airiness and openness. And like I said, the separation between the different instruments, I think is really good on it. And the way that it's tuned is so crispy while being non-fatiguing that it's super interesting to listen to, and something that I really enjoy. Like if you're not looking for the most impactful listening experience and you just want to listen to it all day long, I think that might be the move too. So if I really just wanted to rock out and kind of more junk food, like, hey, I just want to feel lots of bass and have an awesome experience with it, the TANGZU is excellent. But the Kiwi is very nice for, I think, a more balanced approach to anything. So if you were listening to more vocalist tracks, or you just wanted to have more optionality when it came to your musical options, I think that's going to play a little bit better over all different genres. Now, that being said, it's 35 instead of 20. For some of us that are blessed to have the budget, that's really not a big deal. I can afford to buy both of them and check them out. But if you're somewhere where you don't have a huge amount of money, and the difference between $20 and $35 is a really big deal, I'd say that the TANGZU is, you're probably getting 80 or 90% of the performance that you're going to get out of the Kiwi, just in a different way than the OH10. What you're missing with like a $200 OH10 is like that immediacy, that urgency, that feeling of power, and just kind of, it's just in your head that the intensity is much higher, where the difference between the TANGZU and the Kiwis is more subtle. In fact, at a glance, it feels like it's not quite as good because you don't immediately hear that bass. But once you settle into it and kind of your ears start to adjust to it, it's got a very pleasant, open, clean, balanced, but still with enough bass presentation that works for just about any genre out there. So I just wanted to give you guys an update with some of my thoughts on some of the new IEMs that are out there. I hope everybody's had a great holiday season. I appreciate you guys so much for watching the videos, and if you guys have ideas or thoughts on things that you want me to review moving forward, please leave them in the description, and we will catch you guys next time. Thank you.